Okay, everybody, welcome back to my channel. And today I have a video for you guys from Swagkage titled "Leave Obito Alone." Now, this is a video that was requested of me, so we're going to be watching it. But I have to be honest with you guys and tell you that this isn't the first time that I'm recording this video. I already recorded it once, and I tried to upload it, but I ran into some problems with copyright. Now, I didn't mind if they wanted to copyright claim the video as long as they didn't block it. But that's what happened. Most of you wouldn't have been able to watch the video, and that was just unacceptable to me. So I'm going to be recording this again and letting you guys know that I'm going to try to lower the volume in order to stop the whatever bot they have from catching the music or whatever. So just letting you guys know ahead of time. So let's try this again, and hopefully we won't run into those same problems.
So, real quick, sponsor for
Let's
today's
just
video.
head on over straight to the video. It was just a sponsor from the beginning.
Thank you for having me on once again, Swag. Your voice sounds a little different today. I hope you're doing okay, but thanks for having me on.
Yeah, sorry about that. Anyway, so today we're gonna be talking about somebody that I really like. I think it gets a lot of flack. The title should sort of tell you where I'm going with this. I think a lot of people give Obito a pretty bad rap, and that he doesn't really deserve it. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh yeah, he's a great person, a real stand-up human being, pillar of the community type deal, because I mean, like, he kills a lot of people and is pretty fucked up, and like, it's really not necessary of him. Should probably have a little bit of an attitude adjustment. But there's one thing that people throw at him a lot that he doesn't really deserve, and it's this whole pedophile thing. You know, like, just straight like Basherverse type situation.
Oh my lord! It's it's a bit insane. So like, I made this Madara video recently. And one of the fucking comments was like, yeah, the reason I prefer Madara over Obito is because he's not a pedophile. And it's like, oh wait, this isn't a meme. People actually think that Obito is a fucking full-blown pedophile, and the fact that we have to defend this is absolutely insane.
Like,
Yeah.
you think that if he was actually like really fucking children, that he would have been like, oh, hey there, Sakura Haruno.
Yeah.
Hey there, Hinata Hyuga. Why don't you get? Well, actually, 16's age consent in Japan. So never mind. This analogy doesn't work.
No, part one. Part one. He could have just met them during part one. He could have came to the village and just did that.
You know what? No, we don't even need to go through. Here's the thing. Orochimaru. No.
That's his cat.
Oh, it's his cat, okay. Thought it was his roommate or something.
This will go on the second channel, but fucking edit this shit out of the main video. You take a look at Orochimaru, clearly pedophile, mental illness, some shit going on there that, you know, a little bit fucked. Obito doesn't exhibit the same sort of behavior, you know, he just misses his childhood crush Rin. And it's like, she'd still be the same age as him, like, today if she was alive today, okay? It's not that outlandish, it's not that weird, and it's not even like he's still in love with Rin. I mean, granted, it's still like, he's like, oh yeah, I get to go to heaven and be with Rin, but it's like, well, I mean, in the afterlife, she's like an adult, isn't she? Like, at the very least, she's mentally an adult, so is it, and no, but anyway, even then, it's like, I think the only reason he misses Rin so much is just because he associates her with a better time in his life before he had half his body crushed, before he was leading an organization of S-rank criminals.
I mean, to me, that's what I always thought that
back when
Obito
you
saw
remember
when it comes to
he had a
Rin.
bunch of friends.
Or what he
No,
means when he
that's what I
says
think
that
she means to him. It's not like,
Rin
oh, yeah, I really wanna
is-
suck her pussy lips. That's why I'm gonna
Rin is like
The way you
the
slapped
reason why
your
he's
lips
doing
then,
all
it was
this. I
just
don't think that's the case. Like,
That was
he
so bad.
is still obsessed with her even after
Yeah,
all these
it's
years. I just think that
Pretty
he's
insane because you gotta keep in mind.
I just think that Rin was like the catalyst for him sort of giving up on the world and developing
No,
this
of course he had it
philosophy
worse
of
off than Naruto. He was
yeah,
a
the world
child
wasn't really worth
soldier
saving.
employed in
He was
World
a,
War III.
So he was
Deployed,
that.
not
He was
employed.
he was in. Just a second. He was fucking. He was that. He was an outcast to not just any group, but the fucking Uchiha, who were just naturally God's gift to mankind.
Right.
Like, that's essentially what they are. And yeah, the dude had nothing. Like, he was as bad as Naruto in terms of training and learning techniques and so on. Kakashi just shit on him in every aspect. And then, yeah, the the one girl that he, cares about, or the one individual he cares about, other than his sensei and Kakashi to an extent, she gets killed right in front of him after he's just lost half his body. Yeah, and it's like, it's the same deal with the whole Sasuke stuff. Like, I still can't believe we have to defend him. I'm not going to go into that, but it really blows me away how much people don't understand how certain effects in life take effect on the individual later on in life. Like, the reason Obito was so fucked up is because his life was dog shit, especially when he lost all of, half of his body. He's like barely even able to move other than because of Zetsu. Sees Rin get stabbed, and now people are calling him a pedophile because he's saying that he misses that time in his life, like you just said, where things were actually pretty decent, where she existed. He's not looking back as an adult and thinking, "Damn, I want to fuck that 12-year-old." It's nothing like that at all. It's really not, and I don't understand. There was no indication that there was anything to do with sexual arousal. That was the reason why he went to war. He just missed that time.
He literally says to Kakashi, "If you think this war is about Rin, you're a fucking idiot." So I don't really get how much more clear cut that can be.
Alright, so in the last couple of chapters when Obito is saying goodbye to Kakashi and vice versa, isn't the projection of Obito as a child with Rin? So it's like, obviously, that's what is being implied here. I don't see the relation with the whole pedophile shit. It's insane. On top of that, it's like people are calling him just like a crybaby, and he started a war over a girl. Like, not only did he imply that's not why it happened, it can be argued that it was. Like, it's obviously a bit of projection when he's having to bring her up every fucking second sentence. Like, there definitely is a lot. The war has a lot to do with her, but it also has a lot to do with the fact that Madara did twist his mind into doing all these events and just being a fucked up individual.
The only person he starts fucking talking about Rin to is Kakashi anyway. It's not like he's sitting there talking to Conan or fucking Kisame. Like, dude, man, this is fucked what happened to Rin, dude. I really need to get her back. Like, the only person he mentions her to is Kakashi. And it's like, obviously he's pissed off that Kakashi let Rin die. He's just sort of I don't even think that he's like really pissed at him for it. Obito just strikes me as a bit of like a fucking jokester and a dickhead. He was just sort of sitting there like trolling Kakashi.
I mean, didn't
like,
he like?
By the way, you're a little piece of shit because you let Rin die.
I mean, didn't he like when he said the whole "you let Rin die"? He even started laughing and told Kakashi to relax. When he had this like shocked face. When Kakashi had this look on his face where he was shocked that Obito knows, and he told him like, dude, relax. I mean, come on, that's not it. It's like he does. Yeah, I do agree with him. He does strike me as someone who likes to excuse me, as someone who likes to troll people for fun.
Promised you wouldn't do that. Like, he was just fucking with him, dude, because he knew it would get to him, and it was something that Kakashi had suppressed for a little while. Obito definitely has a fucking sense of humor, and a dark one at that. Like, I mean, he created the whole Toby persona, which is just like a meme in itself. And then like there's this one part in the war where he's like fucking, he goes and asks for like the whatever, like the gourd holding that Kinkaku and Ginkaku are sealed in, and he just like asks, I think it's Darui, he's like, "Hey, can I have this? I promise I'll give it back."
Yeah, he'll give it back. He returns things he borrows.
Real fast, then you can have it back. No worries. And it's like this dude just fucking memes around.
And not just that. Remember during the Swagkage Summit arc when he went to go see Naruto, he was literally just sitting on the windowsill and was just relaxing his head on his hand, and he just, "Hey, you don't mind if we talk for like a bit, right? I feel like it's time you and I kind of started talking since you're pretty much the target of my organization and all that stuff." It's just, yeah, he is someone who does kind of like to meme.
So when he brought up, you let Rin die, at first anyway, I think it was just to be like, yeah, Kashi, fuck you. And, he was just sort of trying to get to his buddy. Afterwards, it was a little bit absurd because he sort of kept going and going and going. But like I said, the only person he ever mentioned it to was Kakashi. I mean, he's sort of.
I think it's a mix. It's a mix.
Go ahead.
It's a mix of things. It's a mix of things because you said in a previous video, and I agreed with you, was that he definitely has like a personality disorder, and he's definitely borderline schizophrenic. That's for sure. That's how he's ended up because of all the events he's been through. The whole humorous thing. Yeah, I think every character has that. Like Madara had it when he was like laughing when Hashirama told him to wait. Like that's that. But it seemed a little bit too specific with Kakashi because he did fuck around with Kakashi on purpose. Like, he obviously is really mentally scarred because of the Rin stuff, and that's why he's bringing it up. But yeah, look, the war isn't full blown about her. There definitely is part of it.
Well, again, he waited until Kakashi showed up to say anything about her. And you could also say, well, okay, maybe this has something to do with the fact that his mask had just fallen off, so his identity had been revealed, and maybe that's why he waited until then. But again, he singled Kakashi out. He didn't say anything to Naruto or Guy. He was just like, yeah, you let Rin die, and then they started talking about it in the middle of the Kamui dimension. And Kakashi was sort of bringing it up too. He was like, you know, Rin isn't the most important thing, blah, blah, blah. And Obito had to correct him and be like, look, dude, Rin's not the only reason I started this whole war, so shut the fuck up. And, you know, he brings her up later, and he has, like, flashbacks to her and stuff. But the flashbacks are, I mean, it's like we explained. It's because he associates her with a really good point in time during his life. And
yeah, and he's kind of in denial too.
Again, I'm sorry. Like I said,
I don't fully
I'm trying to avoid copyright.
The turning point of his life was when he seen her die. That's when he just went AWOL. That's when he snapped. Yeah, I don't understand how people give him so much shit, because it's like, another thing I want to say quickly with this whole Rin stuff is, it's like, oh my god, he started a war over a girl. It's like, not necessarily, like I just said then, it was the snapping point which what led to that, and also him just fully being on Madara's side in terms of doing all this. But it's also not that mind-blowing to think that, hey, this dude lost the one positive part of his life, and this led to him turning out to be such a fucked up individual. Like, the fact that people can't sympathize with that.
Well, here,
the same thing also applies.
Here's the thing. Like, let's just draw a comparison. Everybody's like, oh shit, dude, Pain Nagato is such a good character, such a well-written character, you know. And all that happened to Nagato was like the same shit. He got caught up in a war, he lost his parents, and he lost his best friend Yahi. And in Yahiko's case, it wasn't even as bad, because it's not like Conan murdered him right in front of her after he was being sort of like, you know, he was sort of being like subtly, subconsciously manipulated by this old fucking, like, mad fucking, like, evil villain mastermind or anything like that. Like, it's not like what happened was, you know, like, Nagato got brought back to life, or like fucking saved from death by Madara, told, look, you're gonna come back here, the world is shit, you're gonna help me with my plan. He was like, no, fuck you. He left. Then he saw Conan kill Yahiko. Like, Yahiko just died. I mean, he is the one who stabbed him. It's a little bit more complicated than that, but like, Obito was put in a very similar position, except it was worse. You know, he had just been saved from near death. You know, he had just given Kakashi a Sharingan, so he had like finally put aside all of the animosity he had for the guy. And you know, he was like, no, I really gotta save them. And that's the only thing on his mind. So keep that in mind. You know, he's just like, out of the kindness of his heart, it's just this real genuine desire to protect his friends. And he gets there and he sees like the worst thing he possibly could have. And that's Kakashi shoving a Raikiri through Rin's chest. It's just like, when you go there with the intent of keeping these people safe, and you just see Kakashi like betray all of the trust you've ever developed for him, and just be like, no, fuck this person, you know, fuck one of the only people you ever really cared about. It's just like, you know, obviously that's gonna piss you off. And I really think after that point, Obito just kind of snapped, because he had been through a lot. On the note of like the Nagato comparison, like a lot of people say, you know, don't compare Obito to Nagato. Nagato had it way worse. You know, he had to steal food, blah blah blah. And like I mentioned earlier, Obito was a fucking child soldier. Dude. He had to see people die around him like left and right every day. He probably saw a lot of his comrades die. He probably saw a lot of other people die. You know, that he'd never spoken to before from other villages. It was a generally fucked up situation. And I think when he saw one of his best friends kill the love of his life, that's when he fucking drew the line in the sand. And then after that, you know, I think he sort of associates all this massive change in his life with that moment, and it's sort of a way for him to justify all the bad shit he does, because he's like, well, you know, if Rin hadn't died, then I wouldn't have to do all of this just to get back to a happy place in my life. It's the world's fault for taking her away from me and for being such a shithole that it would take her away from me. You know, that sort of thing. I think it's a lot more complicated than a lot of people give it credit for.
And again, like,
Kishimoto didn't do like a
I
better job.
didn't think any of this needed to be explained. I thought it was kind of obvious.
It is.
I mean, Kishimoto didn't really try to make it subtle.
Well, like Clyde and I have touched on already, he did bring Rin up a lot more times than he needed to, but I think that this is why. This is the whole
Right. Well, if you want to look at this somewhat medically or psychologically to an extent, we can narrow it down to the fact that, hey, Rin is it is the same deal with the Sasuke people who just hate these characters for the sake of it. I don't think Obito is the best character in the world, personality-wise. I like a lot of other characters over him, but the hate that he gets is very unjust and blatantly stupid. It just shows a lot of the ignorance from the fan base themselves. The same why Sasuke is like, hey, these guys had some pretty fucking shit upbringings. They obviously turned out the way they did for a reason, hence that is somewhat decent writing. You know, it's not a bad thing, but the way that people undermine how bad their upbringings were to lead to the characters that they ended up being is pretty insane to me. I think the biggest issue here is actually the fan base, not the actual characters themselves, and the whole pedophile shit that just to nip it in the arse, like, it's fucking ridiculous. Don't be so stupid. I seen comments like that on my Madara video straight away when they were just like, oh fucking the reason why Madara is better than Obito is because he's not a pedophile. It's like, no, just
Also, he's so good in Orochimaru.
that. Oh my
Mhm.
fucking lord.
People
Hey,
love
I'm
Hisoka, and
definitely
yet
what you consider like pedophilic
look
nature.
at that. He doesn't even try to hide it.
That's like fine. I think that's fine. That adds layers to the characters. But it's like you can't be like, well, fuck him for being pedos, but then this other guy who doesn't display nearly as pedophilic tendencies, he sucks shit.
Man, Obito's over there like, hey, I missed this really nice point in my life, and Hisoka's actually slinging
Oh,
his
Jesus.
bare dick in front of fucking Killer and Gon. Alright, well, I think we're pretty much covered. Shout out to the morons that
Yeah, so any chance this video had of being monetized is pretty much gone.
who inspired this video. We needed a quick little topic to talk
With
about.
that image
That's all I
alone.
have to say. Obito ain't that bad. Leave him the fuck alone.
Anyway, yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video. Fucking check Clyde out. It makes his pussy really wet.
I think that's yeah, that's the video. So okay, there's the video, and yeah, I completely agree with him. I think that many people unjustly criticize Obito. They call him this. Well, they already said the word enough in this video, and yeah, I never agreed with that. I always thought it was absolutely stupid. I mean, it was kind of clear to me that one of the reasons why he thinks about Rin is because it does remind him of a time in his life when things were, I mean, I wouldn't really say good because, again, they were still in the middle of a war, but better than they were now. And yeah, Rin to me was always, to Obito, she was basically the catalyst for him basically giving up on the world and developing his ideology of this world isn't one that I want to live in, and if I have this other option of, even though it's fake, even though I know it's fake, it doesn't matter because to me it's still better than the world that we live in. Like I could give people a chance to live in a world where things are actually good. And the thing is, the Infinite Tsukiyomi was so powerful they would even forget that it's that it's fake. And yeah, I mean, again, I don't agree with it, but you understand why some people would want to take that option as opposed to living in the world that pretty much screwed them over time and time again. But yeah, anyway, so that's the video, guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Remember to leave a like, share the video, subscribe if you haven't. Click on the bell icon to let you know whenever a new reaction goes up or whenever I go live. Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I won't run into those same problems with this video that I did with the first video that I recorded of this reaction. And if I do run into any problems, then I think I'm just going to give up on this video. But if you are watching this video, that means there weren't any problems. So hopefully that means everything went well. So we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you so much again. Remember to stay safe and take care of yourselves. And please join me for the next video. Bye for now.